Hello everyone and welcome back to Nexus Commentaries. Tonight we have FF and the Pancakes versus ProBUs. I think that's how you say it. They do a lot of extra capitalization in there. Tonight joining me for my co-host is Logicalia, represented by Rabies the Facts. Learn your rabies
that's
facts.
me.
Yeah.
Get your dog vaccinated for rabies. Very important.
Alright, so they did the coin flip. ProBUs won. And ProBUs chose to have map pick, which usually hints that they have a specific map they want to go to. They might have a specific strategy or maybe a cheese in mind. The map bans were Dragonshire, Battlefield of Eternity, Temple and Curse, Hollow. And then we're going to Volskaya. So, what do you look for here on Volskaya, Logic?
Volskaya is a cool map. It is an extremely objective heavy map. And also very point heavy. Probably the most point heavy map in the game because you can't poke at little minions on the point. You just kind of gotta sit. So sustain hero is very important. You need a tank who can kind of sit in the front for a while. So people like Johanna are pretty good. ETC pretty good. Diablo who can just force fights to happen quickly are pretty good on all the little walls. So yeah, draft this is one of the more draft heavy maps in the map pool for sure.
Yes. We've seen a lot of interesting drafts come out from different levels of play on this map. We've seen 5 supports been used on this map. We've seen 4 tanks and a Lucio. We've seen Hammer. We've seen TLVs. We've seen Abathurs. This map has a large variety of ways to play it for sure, and it's just a matter of having the style that you want to play and knowing how to play it and just playing it well. So ProBUs picked map pick after winning the coin toss. Normally you would see a lot of people pick first pick. Then they end up picking this map. What do you think that they might be thinking about in terms of strategy for this map?
Yeah, Volskaya can be a cheesy map. A lot of people can have interesting strats in their map. So it could be really anything. Like you said, there's so many ways to approach just how the map works and how the objective is. So definitely, it could be anything. Could see a Medivh, could see a Hammer comp, could see 5 supports, but that's unlikely.
Yeah, 5 supports usually a higher level of play because it's a little bit harder to know your win condition, know how to play it out. We see the Anduin ban come out from FF and the Pancakes. It's a common ban if you know the other team plays it. Sometimes it's not banned out. We see the Maiev ban banned out by ProBUs. Pulling this up.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Maiev is not highly played hero. No, FF and the Pancakes, it is a top pick for them. Johanna's a top pick for both teams, and she is decent on this map for sure. So we could be looking at a Johanna first pick from one of the teams. What other tanks might you be looking for here, Logic?
Johanna definitely very good. Yeah, there she is.
Well, it's banned out.
I like ETC personally. I might be a little low on that opinion. I feel like ETC is a little undervalued in general. But with Guitar Hero, Prog Rock rather, he can sustain his team and himself through pretty long fights. The armor is also pretty good. Zeratul banned out. That's good. Zeratil's really good on this map.
Yeah, Zeratul is really good in general, especially in that late game. Yeah, I've been actually hearing from a lot of tank players that they think ETC is slowly grinding his way back up the meta with his sustained options. Imperius first picked here by FF and the Pancakes. Potentially a main tank, but more likely the soul lane. Normally you don't first pick your soul lane because then the other enemy team has a chance to counter pick it. How do you think that's playing into what they're going? As the Anubrak Stukov picked up for ProBUs.
It's a pretty strong rotation. Yeah, Anubrak is also a strong opener, but Imperius is a strong opener. He is pretty good, and he is one of the solo laners that are harder to counter in my experience. He does a lot very well, and his team fight is also extremely strong. So he's just sort of a safe all-rounder.
Then the Kael'thas Alexstrasza. Alexstrasza gets focused a lot more as a pick in terms of map control points. Infernal Shrines, we see her a lot. You see her here. Sometimes you'll see her on Dragonshire to hold the point. So we know, a lot of people like her for that sustain healing option. With the percentage heal on her W, be able to keep up the tanks a little bit better. So she's picked up. Dragon Form is also hard to really fight into. What ban are you going to look for from FF and the Pancakes so we don't have time to talk about?
Probably want a main tank. Maybe Garrosh or Varian. Okay. That's interesting.
Is it like a tracer pickup then? Where are they scared of the taunt?
Yeah, it could be a pre-ban or it could be a scout. It's
all 3 of their bans on ProBUs' side are kind of ways to punish Tracer a little bit. You know, the tether, the Zeratul can keep track of her, the Varian can stun her out with the taunt.
That's true.
You could.
Tracer, I haven't seen a lot of Tracer on this map. I've seen it a few times and it's not bad for sure. I mean, it's as good as Tracer is anywhere right now, which is pretty niche, but...
Jaina banned out from FF and Pancakes, limiting some of that wave clear option. We have Li Ming and Leo picked up. Li Ming, kind of mixed opinion on this map personally. She's poor in the wave clear department, which you kind of want for that early game rotations, but in terms of fighting on the objective, there's really not much to block her out, as Diablo's picked up for FF and the Pancakes.
Good pick. Diablo's good on this map. A lot of pretty cheeky wallbang spots. I was kind of surprised to see the Garrosh get through. This is a pretty good Garrosh. But Diablo still a strong hero, as he has ever been.
Yeah. As they also pick up the Cassia. Cassia is a popular pick for them. Good sustained damage. Generally kind of overlooked, as she's not like crazy damage numbers, but like always very consistent, almost like a Raynor, but she's got more physical tankiness over healing. It's kind of a weird balance of where she fits in. But Cassia...
Yeah, Cassia, pretty consistent, not a bad pick.
And there is the Raynor we were just talking about.
Not a bad draft on both sides. It doesn't. Neither side really requires an insane amount of execution. These are just some pretty solid, pretty standard drafts. I think overall, nothing insanely weird except for the Cassia. Cassia's not insanely weird, but she's generally not incredibly valued.
Yeah, she's not.
But I think she could definitely do work here as long as she doesn't get blown up by the lead.
Yeah, very much so. As we're heading into game 1, I am excited for this. Honestly, it looks like it's gonna be a solid game. On FF and the Pancakes, we have Yager picking up Diablo, Stampy on the Cassia, Mr. G playing the Kael'thas, Mr. C playing Imperius, and Courtney on the Alexstrasza. Do you want to introduce?
And for ProBUs, we have Dragon 478 Secret Asian Man on Li Ming, Hong Fu on Stukov, Leoric, Sage on Leoric, almost got those mixed up, and Aruba on Raynor. Sometimes
if you start saying the order wrong, I'll just do like Leoric being played by Sage, then you're trying to cover it up.
Those are some advanced caster strats.
As we head into game 1 here, you're gonna... Oh, that's interesting. So it always starts the caster on the host side. Always started on the left side. This time it started me on the right side. Interesting. No one's doing any kind of dance or pre-game ritual here. No one's like circling around the fort. We do see Sage standing up on this Leoric, potentially going to go straight bottom lane here. As he's not going to have a quest on that character specifically to be played. We see Anub'arak going into the W talent at 1, which probably means he's going to go full W. Alexstrasza is going into Q build, it looks like. Kael'thas did pick up Mana Addict. Q build coming out from Cassia, it looks like. And then Feast on Fear from Diablo. And Fetid Touch from Stukov.
Okay, I have been informed that I had a voice filter on by some friends who are watching the stream. Am I, do I no longer sound like my dad?
No, I was like, we started the stream and you got a lot deeper, and I just figured you were doing it on purpose. So I was just gonna let it go. But we do have Anub'arak getting stunned out by the Diablo there, but he'll be able to get out with his berry.
I have a voice filter that occasionally bugs out and doesn't tell me that it's on. I've uninstalled it even, and I think I need to...
Alright, we see Raynor going to Exterminate, potentially going to be able to rip out some of these camps. Won't get much value in team fights, but potentially a
weird pick here. They have a lot of really good setup for Ace in the hole, but they might be able to... It's good at ripping camps, so I guess they're going to prioritize camps, and maybe Raynor will just get sent off solidity.
We see Kael'thas is going to keep up the double click while they send Diablo, Alexstrasza, and Cassia over to pick up one turn. Meanwhile, only Stukov and Raynor are going for it the other side, allowing ProBUs to just kind of have one person in each lane and maybe freeze up the lanes a little bit so the Kael'thas can't soak as well. They picked up at the same time. I guess that Exterminator letting them keep up with the camps, even though they sent one less person and started a little bit later. As Diablo's looking for a flip push potentially on this Anub'arak, but he's not going to be able to commit for it. We do have the Cassia.
Well, Sky and mid lane's hard for Diablo. There's not a lot you can do in that.
Yeah.
You have to really look for the chokes on the rotate.
Cassia is holding the turret for pancakes here, as it looks like Imperius is kind of losing to Sage down here. Mr. C.
Yeah, that is interesting. That is a hard matchup.
It's very much one of those.
Yeah, if you're dodging a lot of Leoric spooky hands, then you can win it. But Imperius has a lot of healing, so I don't know. I'm not really sure why he's losing that. I guess Sage must be playing it very well.
So, press forward picked up by Imperius. I don't know if I've ever seen this talent picked up before.
Huh.
And then we see Ether Walker into Dominance. So we're gonna see like a full blink build, it looks like, from Li Ming. Instead of
yeah, that makes sense.
Instead of globes at 1 for a little bit extra spell power and potential sustain. Blade of the Whale picked up for Cassia here. That is an interesting pickup. Does give her more health regen potentially, but also really interesting. I've heard rumors that the talent can make you crazy tanky in the right matchups. So interesting to see how that plays out.
Terrible. Usually, I guess Cassie is just relying on Alexstrasza to heal her up, so she's not getting Ring of the Leech. I guess that's not a terrible strat. She's pretty melee, and she's gonna want to be in there in the fight, so she should be getting hit by the Alexstrasza abundance every time.
Yeah.
Sage catching extra wave bottom, so
yeah,
her team should be ahead on the race to 7.
Yeah, we
Both teams just playing chicken around the point.
Yeah, no one fully committing into it yet. Newbreak getting flipped and shoved back in, but with only Kael'thas there to match it as with damage, and misses the gravity lab, so he'll be able to get out with his Diggas again. Meanwhile, camps in the top lane. It looks like the Pancakes camp is going to end up winning that trade, so... Though the camp's not super strong, so it's really not that big of a worry if you just let it free push. During the whole first objective, you maybe lose a tower generally, not much. As sevens are about to be picked up here for ProBUs, as the Nubrak gets flipped and shoved again, and the Stukov silence on 2, getting Imperius, Diablo, and Alexstrasza walking into it as well at one point. We do have damage going out both ways, as the Nubrak's getting low, but so is Imperius. Imperius will be the first to fall, as well as Diablo getting super low. Li Ming doesn't get the reset Q off onto Diablo, taking him down, while Nubrak's able to stay on the middle of the point and get healed up by the Stukov. There's 7 talents coming in handy here. It's not full W, but he does pick up the W at 1 and 7, skipping over the extra movement speed at 4. I've theory crafted and worked with that build a little bit. I don't think it's that bad. We do not have Calamity coming out, though. We do have Orb coming out at 7 from Li Ming, so that's going to be a bit of a hybrid build from her.
Yeah, Orb build, kind of a meme, but Full Sky is probably the best map for it. No minions at all to speak of on the point to block your orbs. Really the only thing you gotta worry about are...
Q build gonna come out from Kael'thas, as you do have to wait till level 70 and see what build he's gonna be taking into. Diablo looks like he's going into the standard build here. Yep, taking Fire Stomp there. Soppo coming out from the Leo as the Stukov silence is hitting a couple people. Diablo is stunning out this Li Ming, trying his best, but he's gonna end up falling down as he's taking damage in the back there. Imperius also falling. Both teams are low still, but the Li Ming reset's gonna help out a lot, as Leo is sitting at 200 health, but then gets healed up as he kills off Kael'thas here. Cassia is being chased down by the Li Ming as she sits at 280 health, but she's gonna back off, and Leo hops in the Protector. Interesting push of Soul Lane and Healer in it, but not the weirdest thing we've ever seen in life. So they're gonna be able to take a tower in mid. They're gonna leave a Raynor with the Exterminator here. Does that do bonus building damage?
I am unsure.
No, it does not.
No, it doesn't.
It does bonus to minions, mercenaries, and monsters. Meanwhile, the Protector...
Hey, Blizzard, the picture's a tower. What gives? The Exterminator picture is a tower.
Meanwhile, they are able to use it rather quickly to take out the top tower, well, and wall, and they're going to be able to finish off the other tower here as well, as Living Bombs being passed around by the Anubarek. Diablo's sitting about half health, a little bit lower now as he takes a handful of damage, but Alexstrasza Q is going to heal him up. Alexstrasza, when she's above 75% health, is going to be able to cast those Qs, pick up a little flower off the ground, and then she's not going to have cost her any health at all. So she's going to be able to do that pretty frequently. It's a good sustain and kind of burst heal option. 5 seconds left on this Protector as level 10s are picked up, and we see Cocoon. We see Shove and not Swipe coming out from the Stukov here, and Tomb and Hyperion. And that Exterminator is coming into play right now as they are just ripping that heal camp, and we have Wave of Force picked up by the Li Ming.
Yeah, some interesting builds sort of across the board. Kalthas has opted for Q build without convection, which is probably good because convection also kind of a meme. We also do have, like you mentioned, Q build for Alexstrasza, which is a little odd considering how tanky her team is. You can get a lot of value out of W quest especially with that globe at 20 if Diablo opts for Devil's Tooth.
And Pierce is sitting at about quarter health as this Leo's currently draining him. If he's not careful, he'll just get entombed and die here. 390 health on him, but Alexstrasza shows up, able to heal, picks up that little flower off the ground. Top camp, meanwhile, picked up by Raynor and Stukov as they're going to head over to the turn camp. Tens are finally picked up for Pancakes here. We have Ball Lightning, we have APOC coming out, Pyroblast coming out, Angelic Armament, though I'll learn to speak someday, and Lifebinder from Alexstrasza.
Those are some pretty impactful ults. Those will definitely sort of change how the fight. Also, APOC is pretty good against Entomb because your team likes to group up around your target's Entomb, and then if you APOC, they're just sort of all in a really awkward spot.
A new Brett burrowing in on this Diablo, and that's going to get a Q stun on him, and then the Q barb stun slowing him down a little bit, but he's only going to take about a quarter of his HP as damage here. I am interested to see if they get a multi-man APOC if the lightning ball can bounce between them enough to get a lot of value here.
Imperius has the hearth in the bottom lane, and that's bad. They're missing a lot of soak. The Yorick is really pressuring that Imperius.
Yeah, it's doing very good. It's very much a skill matchup. As Anubrak flips and then pushes the Diablo flips and then pushes the Anubrak into the tower, but it doesn't matter. He's able to spawn a Beetles to tank that for him and doesn't have to worry about it too much. They are trying to poke down this tower from ProBUs here as Raynor throws out a spray, a cheeky spray. It's very much a
could
U
be
move.
better, but I do appreciate the active proc.
Both teams are going to start to move away from this top lane. It looks like they don't want to lose too much soak here. As Cassia continues to try to stack up her level 1 Q. She's at 24 seconds.
She's out there.
19 seconds on Blade of the Wheel as she just gets shoved behind the wall. She's still taking damage though, but she does have her armor passive going, and she's going to be able to walk away from that. Blade of the Wheel also going to get tons of stack there, as now Blade of the Wheel has more stacks than her level 1 Thunderstroke. We see the Anubrak, we see ProBUs from going in for the enemy turn camp here as an aggressive play. It's going to be pretty even right now. It is 4v4 as Diablo's going to look around. If he's careful, Diablo's going to get a mighty big flank here as Anubrak dives in even deeper. Diablo's still coming in behind them. Entomb going out on Alexstrasza. Diablo charging the Stukov but not getting much value. Cocooning the Imperius meanwhile. Lifebinder out on the Cassia as she's going to impale. Dragon coming out as well. This is a lot of ults being popped right as the objective is spawning in the opposite side of the map here. But camp was capped, and it looks like it was picked up by the Alexstrasza for Pancakes here.
Everyone hit their R button in that fight. So. But
Yeah.
red team or blue team does have a couple ults left over, so they'll have the ult advantage. For
They
this
have
fight.
Pyroblast left, which is a pretty impactful one, and they still have Angelic Armaments, so they can still go for a pickup as they try to rush a support camp, but it's going to get sniffed out by the Anubrak pretty quickly here, as both teams are going to be looking to go in. We see turn being dropped by the Raynor here as he starts to right-click the Imperius. Stukov's silence was on the point, but he gets stunned out of it. Armaments coming out from the Imperius, but he's going to fall anyways. Remaining reset's going to kill off Diablo and the Alexstrasza. Diablo gets his soul resets as he was able to finish that previously. Whew,
Yeah,
both
this is a
teams
tough
dropping a
position for
turn.
blue team. They're down items still, and red team has 2 heal camps now. That's going to be hard to fight into. They're definitely going to have to give up this top point.
Agreed. We still have Pyroblast, we do have Lifebinder back, and we do have Ball Lightning back for the Pancakes, so it wouldn't be hopeless, but Diablo's going bottom. Eager trying to build up his stacks again. What's going through your head right now if you're on the Pancakes team?
Pancakes are in a tough spot. I think you really just have to rely on the big sort of blow-up engage with Chain Lightning, Pyroblast. You just sort of got to really... And get a good engage with Dragon Form as well. They haven't really had that yet. I don't know if Kel'Thas has even used Pyroblast yet this game, so they definitely should.
Both teams going in as we see the first heal can't fall, but there's 3 caught in Entomb as they're going to be hit by these orbs coming out. The Raynor passive doing a lot of work in there as well as Hyperion comes out. Leo does fall as everyone inside the Entomb was hitting him. 113 health on the Alexstrasza. She's trying to get out. Jaeger on this Diablo still in there with the Imperius as it's a 3v2 there on the point. He's going to launch it, but he doesn't get much value on the armaments there as Diablo falls, and then he does. The rest of his team was forced to back out, and the tank stayed there, and it just didn't work out for him.
Yeah, Hyperion did so much work in that fight. Matt Horner was up in space shooting down at all their squishies in the back lane, so they couldn't really step up at all. It's an unfortunate situation. Li Ming was very close to just wiping their entire team with recess. It was that was very scary for them.
feel like she could have had some good Calamity resets there, but regardless, the Orb also did a lot of that pre-damage, so it's hard to tell exactly how that would have played out, what the difference in damage would have been in that fight. As this Protector is going straight for the keep here in the top lane, instead of going for the force that you would generally see, so they're going to be trading back and forth here. Both teams trading damage. This Dragon is popped. Stukov silence coming out on the Diablo, but instantly have to take it off as he is flipped and pushed back in, but the camp from Raynor coming out to start healing as Diablo gets shoved out by the glove from the Protector. Orbs hitting Cassia and Alex Straza. We still have this camp taking off, but it's gone now, as Imperius is still out there with pretty healthy builds. But 16, meanwhile, picked up 4 ProBUs as they see Paint Them Red come out from Raynor, and Lee is going into the auto attack with this 13-16 here. 200 health on the Kael'thas, and he's going to fall down. 400 health on the Diablo. He's just barely going to edge out. He's going to get the Diablo.
The Orb almost hit him, but the wave before.
They're still standing underneath this Protector's E as Imperius gets silenced here. He's not going to do well if he's standing in silence. We see the Stukov silence paired with the Tomb there as Imperius dies to the shove. Diablo's falling as well. Cocoon on the Cassia going down. W just randomly in the middle of the enemy team from the Alex Straza. We see them standing around. They're going to silence. They're going to try to kill this Cassia. She runs the opposite direction of her fort to try to, or fountain, to try to keep the enemy team from going in. This could be GG this early in the game as they continue to look to stagger kills here on the Kael'thas and Alex Straza. They're able to start putting in damage. Too bad Exterminator doesn't do bonus damage to buildings here, but Living Bomb's going to be passed from Leo to the Nubrak as everyone else keeps right-clicking. A Secret Asian Man on this Li Ming is low on health as she does have her 16 though, or low on mana. Shove on the Kael'thas, 16% on core, 10% on core, and the core is down. That is game 1 going over to ProBUs.
Nah, not a bad showing from ProBUs. It's the Li Ming kind of had a wild bit. I feel like that Orb Talent at 7 was a misclick, but you had all Blink Talents with Orb at 7. But I mean, besides some questionable builds, they played the match pretty well. They really got a hold of momentum early, and they just run that very first Protector, and they really didn't let it go at all.
Yeah,
it was a really tough position for Blue Team.
Sage on that Leo, topping siege damage, topping hero damage, topping damage taken, and damage XP. Yeah. So really good job on that Leo.
Yeah, he was kind of the unsung hero that Li Ming did have some flashy plays and got a bunch of resets, but Leo really dominated that bottom lane and kept Imperius.
His teams were pretty good too. He hit 3 in that second objective fight, and then Li Ming was able to throw a bunch of damage in it, and then they zoned out half the team.
Yeah, definitely some solid teams there.
Alex Straza, though, with double the healing of Stukov, but her team kind of needed it a little bit more, but not quite going in their favor just yet as we wait to find out where we're going to end up next. If you are Pancakes, are you looking for first pick or map pick, and why?
Generally, I like first pick. It is sort of nice to be able to play that little ban game where you can maybe not ban a hero that you maybe are trying to pick and then make them ban it.
Maybe that Johanna that we know both teams like.
Yeah, if they like Johanna, definitely. She's definitely a good hero, and if it's something they're comfortable with, they should definitely try and get it. But unless you have, I think, a secret map that you have a strat on, are really comfortable on, I think first pick is generally more reliable.
I mean,
map pick is a fun option.
ProBUs did win the coin flip and did choose map pick and did choose that map, and it definitely looked like a map they were very comfortable on for sure. And it looks like we're going to Towers of Doom.
Interesting.
Towers of Doom, a map that is hard to end early on like that. Generally goes to the late game with the scaling, as you can't directly attack the core. Generally, you get to at least 16 unless you get absolutely snowballed out here. What kind of late game heroes would you be looking for in this situation?
Yeah, Towers is an interesting map to draft on. There are a lot of heroes who are really viable. You do definitely want team fight heroes. I think Garrosh, again, pretty good here. Diablo also definitely solid. The Diablo didn't look too bad last game. He had some good engages and some good apocs, but it was sort of hard to turn that around specifically. But they definitely could look for the Diablo again.
Alright, so the map pick was picked by the Pancakes. So they chose this, which means first pick will be going over to ProBUs. So that means they probably have a strategy, and if they're able to play the map as well as ProBUs was able to play Volskaya, the map that they picked when they had the choice between the two, then we could be easily looking at a game 3.
Yeah, the teams were decently close. The team fights anyway, they were always the blue team definitely just barely lost it several times, so it was definitely close. They could definitely come back and take this to a game 3.
We definitely saw the power of Li Ming resets coming out there, as they would get that first kill, just barely inching out enough damage to get the first one. Then Li Ming able to snowball the rest of the fight and force Pancakes off the points. So that is definitely interesting. If you're on ProBUs, what are you looking for going into Game 2 after winning Game 1 in such a fashion?
If I'm ProBUs, probably I would look for early game heroes who are strong. Heroes like Garrosh, who I keep mentioning. ETC pretty good. DPS wise, their Rainier looked solid. Their Li Ming did look solid. Yeah, I think probably they want to lock in the Li Ming with how much value they got out of those resets. Right. Other solid early game heroes, maybe a Jaina if they can't get their hands on Li Ming. Maybe Jaina anyway for camps and such. Exterminator Raider also viable on this map. I really do infinitely prefer Ace in the Hole, but if they like Exterminator, this is a pretty good map.
I mean, they made it look very convincing. Those early camps definitely, and the quickness they were able to take camps, we definitely saw coming out from them early on. And it definitely helped them snowball quite a bit. I'm interested. Every team said they're ready. Let's see, I'm ready again. Let's see if start the draft here. I'm excited to see the draft. I'm still gonna be hoping for like a hammer. Just always rooting for a hammer, a Gazlo, a Nova, some real salt in there.
Not a terrible Sergeant Hammer, man. There's some decent spots to siege up, and if you can get there early, you can really set some pretty good engages up and just sort of dictate the fight. Because I mean, you gotta fight on the shrine. You can't really fight anywhere else. Well, I mean, you can, but no one ever does.
So,
and also, fun fact: Sergeant Hammer can channel the altar while she's in siege mode.
Yes. Of interesting note, though, ProBUs has actually have Cassia as one of their most played heroes, and Pancakes has Leo as one of their most played heroes, and they had swapped those in the last game.
That's funny.
As we get into the draft, ProBUs versus FF Pancakes. ProBUs getting that first pick as Pancakes chose to take the map pick instead. So, first ban. What would you be banning right now? And apparently they're going to ban the Maiev that they like to play.
Maiev smart. Maiev is still kind of broken. I'd probably ban... I don't know if I want to give them the Li Ming. The Li Ming I don't think was like the single biggest impactful hero in that game, but she definitely made a lot of those engages possible. So,
and we've seen the Anduin ban down again. Same bans so far, as both teams definitely appear to have done scouting. Zerto also banned out by ProBUs. That's the exact same 2 bans, is it not, from them?
Yep, that makes sense. Zertil still also kind of a dumb hero.
Pancakes decided to remove the Nubrak from the equation, didn't like those cocoons, didn't like the engage options. As Johanna's picked up, as she gets through this time, both teams liking that Johanna for sure. Very tanky, very good meat shield. He has some anti-dive tools as well, some unstoppable coming out as well.
Yep. A solid pick.
Potentially see the Diablo coming out from Pancakes again, and there it is. What else are they going to pair with it here? It's the Orphea!
Interesting.
Most of the Orpheas we've been seeing have actually been going Eternal Feast over the Jaws, whatever the crushing one is. So,
yeah, Feast is fun. I don't really see the value of it over Crushing Jaws just because it sets up so much. But Eternal Feast, if you get a pretty sick Eternal Feast, that does feel good.
It does for sure. As Leo's picked up by ProBUs again, and the Stukov, so they have the Entomb Silence combo again that was super deadly last game. Look for that to come back out this time around. Maybe with a Falling Sword.
That would be something. I did pick Falling Sword recently in a pretty legit game. It is as bad as I thought it was.
I would argue it's the better ult post 20 with the 20 upgrade.
It does do a lot of damage, that's true.
Well, it also, like, you can just use it to wave clear at 20 by that point, because of the CDR on it.
That's a lot of cooldown reduction.
Jaina banned out again by the Pancakes, not wanting to give over the Entomb with Jaina combination, but that seemed to not be an issue for ProBUs. They were able to pick up the Li Ming last time. Letting this Li Ming go through again, they could literally just pick up Li Ming Raynor again on the ProBUs side, as Rhaegar's banned out, as Pancakes has not picked up their healer yet.
Yeah, interesting. I'm curious what healer they will pick. Ana did make it all the way through the draft.
As did
That's an option.
Tyrande.
Yeah, no Tyrande this game or last game either.
Tyrande would be able to follow up on the Sons of Diablo as well as provide vulnerability and then Starfall on top of Eternal Feast potentially. But instead it's the Lily coming out from Mr. G and Mr. C. I'm going to continue to say it that way because I'm pretty sure that's how he meant to have it said. Because that's why I decided I'm going to say it. Picking up the Blaze, so he's picking up his, well I guess Offlane was already picked up for the Leo for the other team. Blaze coming in potentially with the bunker option to save outside of this Entomb.
Yeah, not a bad counter.
Of
Blaze
note,
into Leo, weird combo, but it could go either way.
Of note, bunker counts as a Indian monster mercenary kind of object. So Exterminator would have shredded bunker really fast.
But instead we got the Protoss Marine Phoenix.
Yes, Johanna, Stukov, Leo, all very good at putting out slows. Going to give him tons of value if he chooses it. Or he could go Planet Cracker in the Tomb as Kerrigan comes out from the Pancakes. Super divey team from them.
Hype.
I'm excited.
Yes, Kerrigan is scary. Johanna has a lot of appeal for this very heavy engage comp. It could maybe just totally backfire on them, but if they can get a clutch engage off on a couple of his backliners, Pancakes could totally wipe the floor, I think.
There's also the option of the fact that they will just dive past her so fast she doesn't have time to condemn or anything. It does take some time to wind that up, as we have Jaeger on the Diablo, Courtney playing the Orphea this time, Mr. G playing Lily, Mr. C on the Blaze, and Stampy playing that Kerrigan.
And on the ProBUs team, we got Dragon 478 on Johanna, Secret Asian Man on Li Ming, Hongfu on Stukov, Aruba on Phoenix, and Sage playing Leor.
Of note, Courtney was the Alex Straza last time, so that's a role swap coming out from them trying to mix it up as we see her go into Q build. I'm assuming Courtney is their actual name and that it's a female. So if not, sorry, but that's what I'm used to seeing. Yeah. We see Diablo going into Fuse on Fear again. We have Wind Serpent coming out from Lily. Could be a full blind build, could be a Wind Serpent build. Of note to watch for that. Kerrigan picking up Fury of the Storm, pretty common talent there. Fealty unto Death coming out from Leo. Not what he went into last time, as he went into the activatable heal. Mobile Offense from the Phoenix, and Hold Your Ground coming out from Johanna to pick up some extra shielding. And the Fetid Touch coming out from Stukov again. As both teams are getting ready to clash in the middle, we do have Diablo sitting in the top lane there. He's going to look at this Phoenix, it looks like, but he's not going to be able to hit the wall. Meanwhile, Kerrigan Kama going out on 2. Stukov Silence not hitting anything either. Kerrigan's about slightly over half her health bar still, as both teams just remaining pretty healthy after all of that.
Yeah, that was a bit of an awkward engage. Diablo won on one target, and Kerrigan landed a pretty sick combo on the other. Hopefully they can coordinate that a little better as the game goes on. If Diablo gets on that Kerrigan combo, that is almost a guaranteed kill every time.
Yes. It looked like he was fishing pretty heavily for the wall push there when he could have just been looking to push someone back into his team. As he's about to get ganked by 4 members here, and he's gonna get caught out. He does dodge the Li Ming orb, but he will fall to the Qs/auto attacks. I'm not actually sure what finished him there. But the rest of his team is going to go for it. But it gets pinged out by ProBUs as they know it's going to be going on. And they're going to invade that camp pretty heavily there. Li Ming orb going onto the Li Ming Fetid Touch, not getting any more stacks there as he misses his slow. That camp is stolen out because they knew that they had the kill on the Diablo. And they knew the rest of the team wasn't showing. Meanwhile, Kerrigan Kama going out onto the camp minions there. As that takes a whole wall and tower already. That's a nice lead as Jaeger's back in the mid lane here and trying to soak it up with his auto attacks. They need to get a little bit better rotation potentially from Pancakes as ProBUs is going to take their camp as well.
In the top lane here. He's not looking
great. Yeah, he is going to go down. 230 health and he will fall there to the crit auto from Leo. Meanwhile, Phoenix getting hit by the Kerrigan combo and then chopped by Courtney there. As we have level 4s being picked up for ProBUs, we will pull that up so people can see what's going on here. Sin's exposed, letting some extra damage come out from the Johanna blind. We have dominance picked up again for the Li Ming. One good spread, and then inhibiting energy, and Mule Peasant, so extra wave clear from Leo, potentially allowing that his team just stay in bot the rest of the game while he double soaks.
He's already getting on so in that double soak action. Soaking a lot for his team, dominating that top lane already. And ProBUs is looking to be in a similar position like they were last game, even before the first objective, so pancakes are really going to have to make something happen here to sort of shift the momentum.
They will have the opportunity
on Kerrigan as well. That's interesting. That's a pretty good talent, but usually I think I see the W quest. I'm pretty sure that's what most Kerrigans pick these days. But Kinetic Foam, that has a ton of burst if she can get a fully stacked W off.
Yes, very much so. As we see Blaze going for one, Diablo gonna zone out the Leo, it looks like. Well, just giving out the bottom one. They might be able to take top with 2v1 up there on the Leo with the Blaze and Diablo. But they're gonna be giving up potentially bottom tower as Johanna is super low there, but is able to get healed up by the Stukov as well. Blaze is going to go for the channel, but Leo's going to be there to interrupt him as well. Meanwhile, Diablo's trying to come down and help his team out here. Maybe push the Johanna around a little bit, but Stukov's silence getting value there. As Johanna now gets flipped and she's sitting at 400 health, but Diablo's the first to fall. Meanwhile, Kerrigan also going low and falling. Meanwhile, the Johanna's running around with 130 health, 140, but she's going to fall as well. Li Ming resets going off again as level 7 gets picked up for him, and they're not able to pick it up in fast enough to use it in that team fight.
Johanna took a lot of damage there, and they almost got her, but Diablo was too hurt from the fight with Leoric from earlier. So he just got cleaned up, and those Li Ming resets really did a lot of work in that.
They did. She's still hiding her 7. We'll see if we see the Li Ming 7, or we'll see a level 7 talent. It's just a matter of which one. Jaeger walking in and then getting off the flip on the Stukov, as then Kerrigan goes for the combo. There's not enough damage there, as it is a 5v4 there. Dragon getting half health on this Johanna, as I'm still having issues talking tonight, apparently. Pretty low health bar
doing
on.
So much work in that fight.
We do see that same orb talent coming out from Li Ming at 7.
No!
So that is just a personal choice into that build, and they're making it work very much so far. Diablo's looking for another flip push potentially, but backs off of it. Nope, flips the Johanna and then goes to Stunner, but she's able to pop Unstoppable in time as the Stukov silence come out on him. Meanwhile, Kerrigan's sitting at half health. She's taking a lot of damage. Li Ming goes in and is just popping off. Li Ming's blinking like she has Calamity sometimes, but doesn't have it still. Force of Habit potentially from an old build, as Jaeger's sitting at 450 health there and has to back all the way as Orphea's trying to dance around the orbs.
Playing
and
with fire here.
Damage coming out from Phoenix here. Phoenix out of shielding, but Li Ming's out of mana now as the orb stops the Diablo back, and they're able to secure that tower just in time for the next objective.
Yeah, Phoenix probably could have blinked in there under the tower to kill the Li Ming, but ProBUs knows where their strengths are right now, and they don't want to take any risky plays, but they can just do the safe plays that are going to probably end up putting them in the game at this rate.
Stukov walking over to help the Leo as he's looking to stall the one side while Johanna picks up the other. It will be finished off by the Kerrigan as they're not going to be able to get back there in time. Mr. C on that Blaze getting kind of pretty low as he was forced to eat a lot of damage there. We see Boundless Fury coming out from the Kerrigan, and that's a pretty standard talent a lot of times, but we have 10s picked up by ProBUs as they have Blessed Shield, Flailing Swipe this time instead of Shove, Purification Salvo, and the Entomb, as they're looking just to hold this bottom lane again. What is Pancakes going to look to do here?
Level 8 to level 10. This is a scary position. Towers can be a little snowbally, but it's definitely probably one of the maps where insane comebacks happen the most often. So it's definitely possible for them to turn it around here. But it'll take a lot of work and some pretty.
Lily picking up the good stuff instead of cleanse here. I guess there isn't a whole lot to like cleanse unless you're gonna try to cleanse stuff from Johanna. But
yeah, you can cleanse the Blessed Shield, you can cleanse the Stukov W. The good stuff. I don't know. I think
get out of silence for 2 seconds. But meanwhile, they're going to get Wave of Force backed in underneath that Johanna as we see Purification Salvo come out, and Li Ming's able to kill one, and Purification will finish off the other as he did walk underneath the tower there. Very good from ProBUs as the Johanna walks back underneath the field zone of death because she's able to tank it. They're looking pretty solid right now in ProBUs. This is a team to look out for.
Phoenix doing Phoenix thing, just being unkillable and dishing out a trillion damage. And Li Ming providing that really decent backline support, and Johanna providing that very decent frontline support.
Take a look at some stats here. So we actually see Phoenix and Li Ming topping the damage chart, and then we have Orphea, and then we have Leo and Johanna. Johanna getting more damage than 4 members of pancakes right now, so they need to potentially look to step that up a little bit, as you don't want to be out-damaged by Johanna too often. We actually see pancakes going for the boss play instead of going for either of the objectives because they know they can't channel it. And even if they did, it'd be less shots. So this is a pretty potentially a good way of making sure that if they have that comeback opportunity, that they're able to actually get some value from it. As we see 10s picked up now from that boss XP. We have Lightning Breath, Bunker, Maelstrom, Eternal Hunger, or Eternal Feast is coming out from the Orphea, and then we have Jugs of 1,000 Cups. As we see them sending 5 people down here with those level 10s to try to retake this bottom fort.
I don't know how I feel about the Lightning Breath and the Eternal Feast. I really think you need an APOC Jaws combo. Make something happen here, but maybe they can pull up. ProBUs is just so mobile. It's going to be hard to keep people in that Lightning Breath.
Being in orb there, we do see the Johanna getting hit by the Kerrigan combo. Diablo rips the Lightning Breath, but not getting much value from it. As we see Purification Salvo about to come out, and Lightning, Blessed Shield stopping the Diablo charge on him in time. Li Ming's popping the cups as we have 2 people inside the bunker, and then they're going to get hit by CC when they come out, and as Li Ming starting to combo off on them, as we see Wave of Force finishing off the Lily in the back as Kerrigan jumps on top of the Phoenix here, trying to get some extra value. It's 13 talents going over to ProBUs, and we see Glass Cannon coming out for the extra 15% spell power.
Now that's an orb build down. Yeah, that was almost a pretty good fight for Pancakes, but they just, I don't know, that level difference really does make it hard to sort of win those fights. It was close. They almost had the Johanna, but that's sort of Johanna's specialty, is almost dying and never actually really dying.
We see Rapid Recharge coming out from the Phoenix, so he's going to get healed up by the Stukov. He's going to be able to generate shields on top of that healing, giving himself basically 60% amped healing here. As we see Hurricane combo hitting no one, but Diablo walks, or Johanna walks into the middle of them with her Unstoppable, and Li Ming chunking this Diablo still, as he's only at 70 souls right now, as the next altar phase begins, and they cannot afford to give this up that much more. As we see the Johanna sniff it out, and the Blaze is out of position, it looks like he's going to get shoved out, using the Diablo charge to keep people in this Eternal Feast, as it's still going. Maelstrom coming out as well, and we have Diablo getting into the bunker, but meanwhile Kerrigan's going to fall. Orphea getting caught in the Entomb as a bunch of damage hits her. Diablo and Blaze just sitting inside this Entomb for probably a little, or bunker a little too long, as Diablo will fall as he was at 100 health there. 500 health on the Blaze, as he will also fall to the Li Ming combos. And we have Lily trying to get away with her movement speed passive, as well as CDR, but it's not going to be enough, for she will fall to the Johanna blind. The next objective will be a triple altar phase, and could be the end of the game, especially if these 3 siege camp minions get pushed in by ProBUs.
Not looking so great for blue team here. A comeback still technically possible. They're really gonna have to.
You can come back as long as your core is not at 0.
That's true.
But it's not looking good. But it's not over till it's over, and there's not a big winner or loser on my screen just yet, as the core still has 6 health left, as ProBUs looks to push in these 3 more Sapper Camp minions. As Diablo's took a couple tower shots there. We also have the Blaze here, as they're just giving up tons of XP to this Leo. Meanwhile, damage going out left and right, and Li Ming is popping off here as Eternal Feast gets a lot of value again. Diablo going to fall again for them. Phoenix is going to throw out the Purification Salvo and will kill off the Blaze with it, but also get damage on the rest of them. As Johanna's kept underneath the Death Zone a little long, but she's able to pop her Unstoppable and get out, and Stukov will just let her help her out with the silence. Meanwhile, Sage on this Leo is going to push down the top tower. Sage's been looking really good in the off lane tonight.
Yeah, Sage has just been sort of playing his own game the whole time. That's part of the reason they're 4 levels up right now, is just because he has how much XP here.
2 talents here up, as he will eventually fall. That was a lot of
more
XP.
Than double of Blaze right now. 100 HP.
Pancakes. I'm pretty sure Pancakes lost. That's game.
There it is.
GG to ProBUs, looking in really good form tonight for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the Kerrigan pick for Pancakes could have worked out, but Kerrigan is a hero that's really hard to play. Once you get on the back foot, you really need to get those early picks. If you don't, you really need to get those late picks. But
18 kills to 1 this game. I think the last game was like 14 kills to 1. So I mean,
yeah, I'm pretty sure
both
Leroy was the only person who died. Oh, in both games, Sage the Feeder. 1 death per game. That's 100% of his team's deaths.
Shame,
That's
shame,
trait
Sage.
value.
It is trait value. As he had 99,000 siege damage. The next highest was 58, so about 41,000 more siege damage greater than
And
anyone else.
I think an even more impactful there is the 14,000 XP that he saw versus the 6,000 to Blaze on the enemy team, who was the highest.
Yeah, very much feeling like a one-sided map there, and our match in both games. That was just a clean 2-0 coming out from them. Let me reach out to the captain of ProBUs to see if he wants an interview, since I didn't ask beforehand. Alright, he said sure. So we will go down into a lobby in the NGS chat for him to be able to join us. So that was pretty clean. Coming out. Hello. That was a pretty clean 2-0 coming out from you guys there. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we're feeling pretty good.
As you should after those games, especially Sage. Sage performing in the Leo in both games. Game 1.
Oh yeah.
Game 1.
Sage?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go on, finish.
All right. Game 1, Sage on the Leo had top siege, top hero damage, top XP, and top damage taken, and and that's not even counting the entomb value that we saw coming out from him. So
I mean, I don't know what to tell you about Sage. I mean, he is a monster. Absolutely in his micro and his play. I mean, he is. I think everyone agrees he's hands down, pound for pound, the most skilled player on the team. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me to see him put in a performance like that.
So is that your way of telling people they have to target ban Sage over anyone else?
Yeah, I recommend them to give that a shot and see how it works out.
Also could be hints that he's got a wide hero pool.
I don't think I've seen him perform poorly on a hero to date ever, except for maybe that last game when he went feeding. But,
he did have 100% of your deaths for your team in both games combined.
He did. I know. I mean, how can you award an MVP with a record like that?
Another note was we saw an interesting talent coming out from Leeming at 7 in both games. Is that just a personal preference on their part, or is that something
that's
planned?
a good question. I didn't. Which one did he pick?
Orb. He picked Orb at 7, but would go the Calamity build talents at every other talent tier.
So I mean, I'm a tank main myself. I definitely don't. I don't have the background to fully second guess exactly what Secret is doing with his talents and his picks. He does always love doing things his own way, and he seems to succeed at it. So
yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that did not look broken at all. Very clean.
You're definitely not the first caster to look at his talent builds and go, I'm not sure what's happening here. But
it was both teams, especially in game 1. We saw a lot of interesting talents coming out, and gave us a lot to talk about there as people were dancing around. For sure.
Yeah. Any other? I mean, gosh, I don't know. Aside from sort of like the macro alt selections, we didn't have a lot of pre-discussion about that. The guys kind of know their roles. So, I don't know. What else seems sort of off to you? I'm curious.
In game 1, Raynor picked Exterminator for extra siege damage in minions and merc camps, but normally you would see the ace in the hole for the team fight value. So that was a little bit of an interesting pick that we questioned, but it looked really good when they were able to take the camp, showing up the first turn camp phase. Pancakes sent 3, you guys sent 2, and you guys showed up about 5 seconds later and capped at the exact same time. So
wow.
We saw it was a little interesting to see like the exact value that you guys got from it, but it's not a talent you would normally see picked up.
That's an excellent question. I would assume that Aruba flexed onto that just because of we didn't have quite as reliable of slows in that composition as he would normally like to see. Sort of like comboing with a Jaina or something along those lines. So I would assume that was a flex on his part just to kind of get the extra value out of the Exterminator when he thought that the team fight value from Ace in the Hole might be a little questionable.
Each team fight in game 1 was very close, and then you guys would just barely edge out that first kill. and then Li Ming would reset. What do you think was the playing factor why you guys were able to not be the first ones to fall in each team fight?
uh, it's a great question. We had a pretty heavy focus on our front line of just holding the line. Don't overengage, don't overextend. That was kind of the mantra that Sage and I were really giving ourselves going into this. Of course, that's hard to do on an Anubarak. No one loves engaging more than an Anubarak.
Maybe Diablo. You see a lot more Diablos just dive in without any reasoning.
Maybe that's a good point. Diablo, there's nothing Diablo loves more than the 1v5. You press that R button and it feels really good for about 5 seconds.
Though Jaegers over on the Diablo both games never seem to overstep, seeming to prefer the overpower into the charge kind of playstyle. Does that throw you guys off a little? I know you, especially in game 1, you got flipped a lot on that Anubarak.
Not terribly. I probably got flipped on the Anub a little bit more than I wanted. That being said, I think it's no secret in the league now that we do our homework and we watched our games, and I had a feeling for how Jaeger likes to play his Diablo. He is like an E to Q comboer as opposed to the Q to E. So I would say that was kind of
you cut off right there at the end.
Oh, I would say that was as expected. I probably gave him a little bit more than I gave him too many opportunities to do that, but it worked out for us in the end.
So you guys won the coin flip, and then you guys chose map pick. Was Volskaya the map you guys were specifically looking at going to?
No, it was cursed, but they took it from us.
All right.
Yeah. We do love Volskaya. We do love cursed. We've got a pretty comfortable at this stage. We have a pretty comfortable rotation on the full map pool. So it's wherever we go, it changes our game plan a little bit as it should. Each map's a little unique. The priorities are a little unique, but at this point of the game, we're more or less comfortable playing on just about any map that comes up in the rotation.
That's good. We've already looked a lot at game 1, so let's look at game 2 a little bit. They chose Towers of Doom. You guys, were you expecting them to pick Towers? Were you expecting them to pick first pick? Were you going to look at map pick there? What was your thoughts when you found out you're going to Towers?
What was my thought? Towers is maybe personally a least favorite of ours. I think we just enjoy the map a little bit less. So in that sense, it was kind of like shoot. But we do have our drafted game plan for it, and they did what they could to try and limit our siege potentials by taking that Anubarak away from us. But we still sort of drafted with our game plan in mind, and fortunately we're able to execute it. I felt relatively well outside of Sage. Thank you.
The one feed from Sage, never gonna live that down.
100% of our team death, Sage. Come on.
The entire match, the entire 2-game series, 100% of your deaths. Yeah, 2 deaths total.
So, Towers plays very differently than a lot of the other priority point control maps. So it's just okay. Let's get in the mindset for it. What do we have to do to win here? What do we have to pick to win? And that's that.
All right. Did the Kerrigan pick at the end there throw you guys off any? Were you expecting that?
Yes. I mean, it did, but it was also kind of, it laid clear their plan. It was very much sort of like a dive engage, hit the CC, get the feast off and wombo them. To that end, actually, I think the thing that ultimately surprised me more in that match was the bunker. I was half expecting that to be a combustion blaze. But I feel confident on my peels for Joe, and I was like, okay, it's my job to keep the back line safe, and I just gotta make sure that Kerrigan can't step up the way that she wants.
And you made it look very, very beefy on the Johanna. You'd be able to eat a lot of damage in a lot of those fights. We get super low, and then you would always have your passive right there ready to go. And you did take the shield at 1, so it would always be available. How much of that, though, came from your support over your own sustain?
Ooh, I'd have to look at numbers to know for sure. It was certainly Hung Fu does his job, and he does it well. So I would how much of it's him and how much of it's just Joe and the hero herself, it would be hard to say, but we know that the two of us together, we kind of know our limits. We know what we can live through, and we know what we can't. Usually.
Logic, do you have any questions for ProBUs?
Nothing for me, except how do you pronounce your team's name?
This is so it's a funny question. The initial intent was supposed to be ProBUs, as after the hero, sort of a pun on "We are probes," pros be us. And then we got into our very first game in the NGS, and the caster immediately went "Probe us," and I was like, "Oh, man, this is we've already lost control of this situation."
Fair enough. I sort of defaulted to pro. I was like, oh, it's probably like pro BS.
Oh,
pretty good name.
Yeah, I think we handled that name pretty accurately then.
Yeah.
I think there was a player name on the other team that I kept saying Mr. C, Mr. SIW. So I don't know if I was saying that right, but they had a Mr. G, so I just went Mr. C.
Mr. C, yeah. It's
go ahead.
Oh, nothing. I was just gonna comment that it's a little ambiguous.
Alright. So do you have any shout outs that you want to do?
Oh, big shout out to big shout out to Sage. I'm just giving you flack, man. We know we can't do it without you. Shout out to the rest of the team: Hung Fu, Secret Asian, Aruba, and our friends that couldn't quite make it tonight. Big shout out to Agerbomb, and good shout out to our 2 or 3 fans who watched tonight to send me congratulations texts. Thanks, guys.
Any shout outs on you, Logic?
Nothing for me.
Alright.
Shout out to Heroes of the Storm and NGS for still putting on cool games.
Yes. Thank you, NGS, for putting this all together. So that's it for this cast. We will actually be back in about an hour with a Division A game. I don't see if I can figure out who's casting an hour. In an hour, we are casting In Too Deep versus A Few Loose Screws. So if you want to come back for that, you are more than welcome to. But if you just came to root for your favorite team or some friends of yours from this previous match, we understand. But we will. That's gonna be it for this cast, and we'll see you again real soon.